Hi, everyone. I'm Butian, co-founder and CEO of Blockless. We provide full-stack zk verifiable decentralization for builders to create, manage, and scale decentralized applications, networks, and subnetworks. So a few days ago, someone sent in our Slack, what I'm listening to channel, this hip-hop song from the Naughties by Tidra Moses. It's a wonderful song. Definitely give it a listen when you're out of here, called Complex Simplicity. So, in this nascent technology, the industry that we are building with crypto, like new tech is sort of knocking on the door every day for public consciousness. It's so easy for us to look only inward for inspiration. Profile pictures has to be cartoon NFTs. AI, music has to be AI generated. And settling debts with friends has to be done on-chain. However, the external world still has its merits. I'm sure that Tidra wasn't really talking about the tech world. And this definition of complex simplicity is a little vague. So what does it really mean? This complex simplicity in the context of the crypto world. We're often so focused on building in decentralized ways. We talk a lot about governing in decentralized ways. But what it really means is that we have to overcome the hurdles of achieving full-stack decentralization. So despite all the things that this guy has done wrong, he was at least correct in pointing out what he has done wrong himself. Centralization, especially in the decentralized world, is very, very dangerous. But building a decentralized platform is often associated with a lot more complexities comparing to its centralized counterparts. So when we are looking into the decentralized world with protocols building very complex systems, achieving full-stack decentralization for both on-chain and off-chain is often the harder things to do. When centralized solutions were presented to us as the easy and lazy option, your competitors may be skeptical about full-stack decentralization, about the ROIs, and your investors may be not, and their eyes may be glazed over a little about the idea of full-stack decentralization. So we realize that we are tasked with sort of the inverse of complex simplicity, which is to make this harder to achieve things simple and accessible for everyone. Taking from the hard-to-source compute power to managing the network security, managing the nodes, behaviors, and handling privacy and everything. What we are tasked with is really taking all those and condensing that to a few clicks and make it easy for anyone to build a full-stack decentralized application. So instead of that complex simplicity, what we are delivering is really simple complexity for you to create, manage, and scale your decentralized application easily. Well, before I dive deeper into the solution that we provide, I'd like to just talk a bit more about the problems that we've solved and created that really brought us to where we are here today. Before we achieve on-chain decentralization, people are mostly cynical when we talk about history of any sort. But Tim Berners-Lee is really rightfully the pioneer that has this idea of the online, having this read and write format of the internet. Although his idea was sort of hijacked by the commercialized use of this technology to provide for those people who see internet as a drive-through for information and providing a read-only format of the internet. What we achieved today and on the on-chain environment, it's sort of delivering the initial vision of the online, which is providing a trustless, permissionless access to a shared ledger. Well, I guess some of you might be wondering why on-premise, which was really what we started before achieving online, why is that 1 degree of decentralization further from today? So on-premise or on-prem really allow users, individuals, and community to have their local control of their private data, their access, and private computing, while also benefiting from this shared ledger, shared security, data, and also transparency. So really combining the benefit of both worlds. So that is really what our vision is for Blockless, to drive for becoming this global network, allowing anyone to build a decentralized application and allowing them to serve their users in a trust-minimized way. So let me ask this question. What do you think? Is full-stack decentralization impossible, or is just simply impractical? I'm sure that different people have different answers. But basically, developers are often tasked with answering a couple of questions when they are looking into building a decentralized application. For example, what consensus or proof mechanism should the network employ? How can we prevent nodes from leaking private information? How do I guarantee 24/7 network uptime? And how do I ensure network security? These are the complexities that's often involved with building a decentralized application. And these are the problems that we've solved for you at Blockless. So we divide our product offering into 3 segments. First, from custom-built node network solution that's tailored specifically for your ecosystem or network need. Currently, we are working with EigenLayer and Celo to provide greater security and improved stability of the network. And second is the community-owned infrastructure. This allows your community to run your front and back end in a decentralized, permissionless way. And which brings us further to the third option, which is the fully managed solution for a serverless experience. We provide both serverless functions for event-driven, sort of building like a smart contract logic, also combined with continuous solutions provided by the app engine, and actually have a demo for you to see how it works in motion. But basically, with all those, depending on how your need is and how, for your average person, the features is needed, you can find yourself fall into at a given point of the spectrum. And Blockless leverage WebAssembly or WASM and WebAssembly interface or so-called WASI. And this architecture allows us to get a few advantages. First is the ultra-portable nodes. So you can run a Blockless node on a web browser. That means you can run a node on your phone or your laptop and achieve front-end and back-end full-stack decentralization. For people from the community, it means that you can get fairly compensated for easily participating and contributing your hardware resources. And for builders out there, it means that you can achieve a fully decentralized global network to have your application backed by this network. So for early projects, this provides solve the cold start problem for providing a readily available large pool of your target users. And for mature or established projects, this allows a degree of further decentralization that was previously not achieved. Either for old or new projects, this offers all-around better performance for your application. And last but not least is hands-free scaling. So this is really the core and basics for the serverless experience that we provide. So your application can be built once and then deployed everywhere, where the fluctuation of the workload is automatically taken care by the lower level of infrastructure that we provide. Therefore, builders, you can focus your precious time in building your application logic without worrying about the underlying infrastructure and scaling. We also have an automatic orchestration achieved by this Cosmos-based orchestration chain. So this chain is kind of like running a Uber matchmaking algorithm that optimizes the allocation of the compute task to the available hardware resources. Thanks to WebAssembly, we can achieve accurate provision of a task hardware resource consumption prior to running the task. So the first layer is really distributed orchestration, which includes the handling of incoming tasks to the resource allocation, the scheduling, the management of the nodes, and also fault tolerance, and the monitoring of the execution. Combined with our advanced node selection algorithm and our reputation system, which I think is also a big deal for a lot of distributed on-chain and off-chain ecosystems, we make sure that the functions and the applications, once coming into the system, can be efficiently allocated and distributed to the suitable nodes based on the hardware requirements, functional requirements, and also geolocation requirements. So really ensuring a reliable execution in a decentralized network in a verifiable way. So I'd like to show just a quick demo of how this is achieved. This is our developer dashboard, where you can easily connect your GitHub repo. And those contain your application logic. So you can name your project. This is actually a previous demo that we did for the Celo chain. And you can select how many nodes you would like to mobilize to get involved in the execution of your task. And we have zk and dynamic consensus, such as Raft, PBFT, etc., to ensure the security and transparency of the execution. And with the integration of data availability layer, the layer 1 and layer 2s, and also decentralized storage solution, and other integration options, you can easily pick and choose what's most suitable for your application needs. And then, after the configuration, hit deploy. Now, your application or your function is deployed to a global edge computing network. Based on the requirement, we do roll call across the entire network to source the most suitable nodes to get involved in executing the task based on your specification. And here you see that we've selected the nodes based on the requirements, and then roll call is complete. They are tasked with executing the logic per the instruction and form the consensus, or in the case of zk, approve is attached to the execution result that's submitted to a layer 1 or your destination of the settlement where the finality is taken care. So what Blockless really enable is to give you a universal toolkit to build with ease to achieve your application specifications and requirements. So I'd like to show you just a very simple example. One client of ours that is using Blockless to achieve full stack decentralization, Humans.ai. They are a AI data and marketplace that leverages pre-trained models and open source models and data sets to provide cutting edge AI solutions. Some examples include those with private trained data to execute traits on your own device based on your personal preferences. And also for pharmaceutical uses, those Humans.ai people are actually here today. If you are interested, feel free to ask more questions about how their technology is revolutionizing the world that we live in today. But there are three basic premises that they would like to achieve. One is permissionless access to their platform and to the open source libraries. And second is verifiable AI executions. And third is privacy control of private data. So they leverage Blockless. First is the secure sandbox environment to run AI models across a variety of different GPU and CPU. And second is the peer-to-peer network that provides permissionless access, and also combined with the consensus and zk to ensure the secure and correct execution of the model and the results. Obviously, all those cannot be achieved on a blockchain just because of the intensity of the compute of LLM and large data set with large parameters. So with the solution, Humans.ai is able to deliver end-to-end, fully decentralized platform for users that they serve. We think that decentralization should be easy, and it should be top to bottom, end-to-end, from back-end to front-end. So which really brings us to an incident that happened in the past few weeks, where multi-chain team, they tweet about getting help from GoDaddy to bring down their own website. This is just one example of the community governance without true community power. And with Blockless, we're able to achieve both. So which really brings to this little tribute to the internet. One of our engineers actually did this as a side project to leverage the dynamic functions to allow anyone to easily launch and host a decentralized dynamic front end, which means that you can not only have your static assets and content hosted, but also dynamic functions rendered in to a decentralized network. So we've used this to build our own website. As a quick demo here, this is how you really leverage the CLI to build using the Blockless sites as the template to launch your own website. So what you see here is basically after you install the SDK, you're able to select, based on the templates, configure what you need for the render into the binaries of the TOML file that specify how many nodes you need, what are the dynamic as well as static data. All those are stored in the directory of IPFS or other storage, for example, S3. And after you specify the actions required by each node, and then you can deploy, you can build, and then deploy your site. Here, as the last step, it shows the deployment, building and deployment, actually. This is our own website hosted by the Edge network of decentralized nodes. And it's the first ever in the industry to have a dynamically rendered front end hosted on a fully decentralized stack. So if you would like to know more about how you're able to leverage blockless solutions to build better, feel free to just scan the Linktree QR and come hang out with us. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'd like to say that it's just awesome to be in this space where I must have said a couple times, in this where the environment collaboration is both necessary and intentional. For those of us building towards some sort of vision of the decentralized future, we choose to collaborate, and the work that we've done actually require a degree of collaboration that wasn't previously needed before. So really appreciate everyone that's building in this, especially interchain interoperability using the modular tech stack to build on top of each other. Yeah, thank you so much.